40 of America's best drivers in the biggest race of the year.
All right, everybody. Appreciate all the hard work, all the effort, the commitment all year long. We have all the ingredients. Put it all to work. All right, starting to get ready. Ready.
That rumble will shortly become a roar as 40 stock cars with nearly 800 horsepower come by the start-finish line in front of a sellout crowd.
Shout out to KBB over on YouTube for the NASCAR hype video. We got under 20 minutes left here in the practice session. We welcome in all the early birds here for week 2 of the No Toad Racing League, celebrating their 20th season. And we have all the action here in Atlanta. This is the Stay Puft 200. And these ARCA cars at Atlanta should be a phenomenal car track combination. I'm looking forward to this race. We still have some time, obviously. We are going to pull in hopefully a couple of drivers here for pre-race interviews. We're going to try to get a last week's winner, Skyler, in here and see if we can chat with him. Still waiting on my co-commentator Trey as well to make his way into the broadcast booth, but for now it's all up to me. Welcoming you guys in here again, week 2 of season 20. We'll leave that tower up there as we do bring in a very special guest to No Toad Racing League, Jason Benson. Jason, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
Good, man. First and foremost, thanks for taking the time here to do this. The reason why I wanted to bring you in is I was talking with Sarge a little bit in the afternoon, and he was kind of letting me know your role here and all the creative things that you do behind the scenes for No Toad Racing League. So if you wouldn't mind, just introduce yourself a little bit. Let us know how long you've been here at NTRL, and then what it is that you do for these guys.
Okay. I'm Jason Benson. I'm driver of the number 42 Stay Puft. I've been with them, started last season, And when I came on, I was talking to Sarge, asking them if they, had anybody that does a newsletter or any type of journalistic coverage of the races and the drivers and things like that. And he said they didn't. So we kind of worked together and came up with a format. And I've been, putting a lot of effort and time into that to cover the races and the drivers, to give them the attention that I think that they deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, is that something that's, only in the Discord? Is that something that these, friends and family who tune into the streams, is there a website they can go to check out all of your work?
As it is right now, I think it's probably all just available in the Discord, though that's probably something I could talk to Sarge about to see if there's another place we could put it on the homepage or something like that.
Yeah, sure. Of course, that's up to you guys. I just didn't want to miss out on an opportunity for those guys that are viewing at home to be able to keep up with their drivers here at No Toad Racing League. So talk to me a little bit, because you are tonight's sponsor. Talk to me a little bit about this Stay Puft 200 that we have going on here.
Yeah, no problem. So when I heard from Sarge that they were doing the sponsored races, I thought, absolutely, 100%, we have to have a Stay Puft 200. It's just such a great chance to get, Stay Puft out there for all the people to, see and enjoy. And I want to give a shout out to Graphic Gibbon for allowing me to use his logos and his designs. You can find Graphic Gibbon on Twitter, and he's got links to t-shirts for sale and stuff like that. It's really a great place to look for something to buy.
Absolutely, man, and I love it. I love Stay Puft. I like the logo. So, Jason, we appreciate you taking the time to do this. I'm sure No Toads appreciate you sponsoring tonight's race. And more important, like I said, the things that you do behind the scenes for these drivers. This is definitely a very immersive league. A lot of guys that are vested in the league. So certainly, I'm sure they appreciate the work that you do. We'll let you get out there on to the track and get some practice in. Jason, we appreciate your time, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
That was race sponsor Jason Benson, but I wanted to pull him in here and just let him introduce himself. He does we heard him talk, some newsletters, does a little bit of journalism for him. There's a couple of guys here in the league that do a lot of stuff like that behind the scenes. I know Al Corey does some things like that as well. So it's always nice to give those guys the spotlight and be heard and let them know that some of the things that they do behind the scenes are noteworthy, and that people notice that and most certainly appreciate that here as we roll up on about 14 minutes left in the practice session. I don't think it's any surprise here. Johnny Brugg and Skylar Carnes so far the fastest in practice, with Johnny laying down that 31.68. And Skylar not too far behind, 31.73. Jaden Consturk right on the bumper of that with a 31.75 so far in the practice session. Now, we do have a new driver starting tonight, or maybe a couple, but I do know of the one, Kobe Sutphin, for sure. So he's making his No Toad Racing League debut here in Atlanta. Another ARCA driver for Sarge in another league on another night. So good to see him jumping in here on the Sunday night schedule. Speaking of the schedule, of course, we had the season opener last week at Talladega Super Speedway. That was the Pepsi 250 sponsored by Alex Goff. That was won by Skylar Carnes. This week we're here at Atlanta Motor Speedway before we take a bye week on September 5th because of USA and Canada Labor Day holiday. So we'll be off next Sunday, and we will be returning September 12th at Iowa Speedway. So definitely some really good tracks here to open up the week. Talladega, of course, which I thought was pretty unique. A lot of guys, a lot of leagues, for good reasons, usually start their seasons at Daytona. So I was really excited to be able to call that race at Talladega last week. And then, again, I think Atlanta Motor Speedway is going to be really good. Go through some more times here. P4 is going to be John Creedler. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Suppose it could be Cradler. But we'll stick with Creedler. John, if I'm saying it wrong, DM me in Discord. Matt Puricini, the Canadian, in that 24 car, he's going to be P5. Alex Goff, 6th. Alan Dixon, 7th. Al Corey, who we talked about just a few moments ago, in 8th. Kobe Sutphin making his debut tonight. We touched base on there. He's top 10 in practice. Aaron Sayer gatekeeping the top 10. Outside, Terry Fullwider, 11th, and Joe Tucci in 12th. So we'll see how that speed translates over to the qualifying, which will be underway here in almost 10 minutes' time. Let's take a look at some of these cars. We are on the scenic route just simply so that we could hear Benson a little bit better in that interview. Now we'll actually check out some action on to the track. So if that's why you were wondering why we kept looking at nothing important, that is why. Here is a look at the guy making his debut tonight, Kobe Sutphin, in that 95 car. A big Los Angeles Laker fan, a big Kobe Bryant fan, as you see him actually slide up there. A little bit of a slide job on that 00 car of Alex Goff. This is Matt Puricini in the 24 car. Taking a look at Matt, the sponsor, Mid-South Sports Report podcast. We called that out last week. And we'll throw you in a bonus shout out here tonight. You see on the top right of that driver profile, NTRL admin and veteran driver Al Corey in the 45. I think might have just bumped up to, no, it was Aaron that just dropped out of the top 10. So Al's still in 9th so far in the practice session. It was Sid Kashishian cracking the top 10, bumping Aaron Sayer out down to 11th. Ken Olsen in the 51 car, still looking to get a lap calculated here at Atlanta as he jumps into the practice session. Willie Whitaker in the 37 out of Bowling Green. Mid-South Sports Report and Jerry's Muffler and Tire. So shout out to Willie Whitaker and Jerry's Muffler and Tire. As we do pull in the guy that sits at the head of the table, Gary Sarge in the 28 car. Gary, how you doing tonight?
Good, Brandon. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, man. I just wanted to say thanks again for hopping on board with us. Week 2 here at Atlanta. A fine race last week to kick off season 20 at Talladega. Give me your thoughts a little bit, not just from a driver standpoint, but from a league owner and admin. Just how good of a kickoff race it was at Talladega, and what you look forward to here in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm just really, really excited about the turnout we had last week. Tonight's looked really great. We have closed any recruiting or new drivers coming in as of now, because I'm afraid we'll go over our what we can fit in there. But I am just really excited. Everyone's running really well, doing well, getting along, and so it's going to be a great season.
Yeah, now you had a good finish last week, if I remember correctly. I think you finished right inside the top 10 at 4th.
I got real lucky. In fact, I kind of got put into the wall with about 2 to go that I was a little upset that I lost the draft. But when I come around the corner on that last lap, there's cars everywhere, smoke. I just drove through it all, and next thing I know, top 5. It was just a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, whether it's luck or not, or just, maintaining track position, being smart, anytime you can finish a super speedway like that, and specifically week 1 is always good, but coming out of there with a top 5, even better. How are you feeling about your personal drive here at Atlanta? Is it a track that you struggle at, or are you very, very familiar with this car track combination?
I'm generally pretty good at Atlanta. We're looking at the track temps. They're pretty high tonight. We do the generated weather, so it has got the temp running pretty high. So tire wear is definitely going to be an issue tonight, and it's going to fall off pretty quick. So we'll have to see how that goes. Yeah,
and one last thing before I let you go, just for our viewers at home, how many quick repairs for these guys, and how many sets of tires, speaking of tire wear, are you guys bringing here in Atlanta?
So they get 1 fast repair each, and it's 4 total sets of tires. So the original set plus 3 changes.
All right, Gary, thank you for that information. Thank you for your time. Good luck tonight, and we'll talk to you down the road.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir. That was a league owner, Gary. They call him Sarge. I think Sergeant is how you say his last name, as I welcome into the broadcast booth Trey Carnes. Trey, how you feeling?
I'm ready to go back at it again, racing here at Atlanta. Sorry for being late a little bit. Had some issues starting up iRacing and such. But, man, it's been a while since I've been here in Atlanta. And it's one of my favorite tracks to watch these drivers race on. Really exciting racing, if you think about it.
So we have a couple of name updates. The drivers that I want to include in that, Joe Tucci. I don't know if I said Tucci before then, but Joe Tucci. So I just want to make sure that that's correct. And then I believe, let me check one more time. Want to make sure I get these guys right. Kreidler is who I was struggling with. John Kreidler. So thank you for clearing that up into the Discord chat for you guys. I appreciate it. As my co-commentator makes his way into the booth, we're going to bring in, I believe, one more driver. We're going to talk to somebody who's making his debut here tonight with No Toad Racing Leagues, and that's going to be Kobe Sutphin. Kobe, you got a copy? I think his mic is muted in Discord. There he is. Hey, Kobe, how you doing?
Is this happening right now? We're at the push talk. How are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing really good. So listen, I know that you race under Sarge in a different league in the ARCAs. Obviously, you talked to him about coming into this league as well. Making your debut, this is a very, it's a pretty big league here. I mean, a lot of OGs in here. They've been around for, 20 seasons. What are your thoughts coming in here? You missed Talladega, which, hey, might have been a blessing in disguise. Who knows? But making your debut at Atlanta, how you feeling about the league so far and about your debut here at Hotlanta?
So far so good. Kind of surprised that the track temp is way up there right now at 120. But definitely going to be a good, fun race. I am just getting my feet wet with these guys at the moment. Running 6th as fastest time, so really hoping that'll help me out during the race, but we will see.
Yeah, right outside there of the top 5 in practice. Hopefully you can carry that speed and momentum into qualifying. We talked to Sarge just a few moments ago. You're coming in here with a set of tires, obviously, but only having 3 after that with these track temps. Is there, I mean, what are you really trying to save as much tire as you can, or are you just going for it and seeing how it is at the end?
Honestly, probably just going to run it, and whatever happens, happens. I don't really have a strategy going into this, to be honest with you, but we're hoping for the best.
Yeah, absolutely, Kobe. Appreciate your time. Good luck tonight making your debut here at No Toad Racing League. Keep her clean, and hopefully you get a good finish tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Trey, you were talking when you first got into the booth here. It's been a while since you've been at Atlanta. Are you excited about this race here tonight at the Stay Puft 200?
Oh, man. Really excited, especially the times these drivers are putting down here, as I'm seeing on the leaderboard on the stream. Yeah, Atlanta's one of my favorite tracks, high up there in the top 5, probably. Ashamed that they're repaving it in real life, but pretty glad that we're here again. It's been since North Force days I've been to Atlanta on iRacing. It's probably like a year and a half now, so let's see what changes these ARCA cars can make and see if they can put on a good show for all of us at home.
Yeah, Chicagoland and Atlanta definitely in my top 8 tracks to race at here at NASCAR's official simulator, iRacing.com. I know a lot of feathers have gotten ruffled over the track changes, but I think it'll be a good change overall. It might take some adjusting to. Obviously, for the folks at home who are wondering, Atlanta, for the first time in a long time, they are changing the track. They're making the banks a little bit higher, and they're widening out the track to be, I think, 45 feet wide. Trey, does that sound ballpark too? I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's going to be the same width as Charlotte Motor Speedway, I believe, and Charlotte also throws down a really good race most of the time as well. As we see the 000s on the clock, we are done with the practice session. We're going to bring these guys into qualifying. No interview with your brother Skyler. I'm a little disappointed with that, but I'm sure he's just locking into the race.
Oh yeah, most definitely. He is set to focus on winning his second race here in this in season 20 of No Toads Racing League. He won the previous beginning race of the season opener of Talladega, and he's going to try to win another one for everyone here. Tongue twisters everywhere. Oh my.
Not only winning at Talladega, but he won the previous 2 preseason races as well, North Wilkesboro and Phoenix. So technically, even though the first 2 races didn't count for points, Skylar Carnes coming in here on a 3-race win with the ARCA series at No Toad Racing League. We'll see if he can keep up that momentum here tonight, or if maybe somebody a little familiar like Johnny Brugg, who was battling for first all last week before some unfortunate wrecks took him out at Talladega. We'll see if he can prevent Skylar Carnes from winning 4 in a row in the league. But like you said, 2 when it matters, Talladega and Atlanta. And I'm looking forward to Kobe Sutphin as well. I do rate, he is my, I've raced with him in the past before. No favoritism, but he's a really good dude, a really good ARCA driver, and I expect good things out of Kobe Sutphin. It can be a little nerve-wracking when not only making a league debut, but this isn't a startup league, Trey. I mean, we've talked about it last week. We've talked about it at the beginning of the broadcast, 20 seasons. These guys have been rocking and rolling for a long, long time. So you got to imagine Kobe really just trying to come in here, and all these rookies as well. I don't want to just single him out. All these rookies making their debut this season, trying to be competitive, but also not trying to get a bad rap for themselves and trying to keep themselves and everybody around them clean.
Yeah, most definitely. I agree with that, because all these rookies are now trying to make a name for themselves towards these veterans here that have been around for all 20 seasons. They're just trying to make a name and say, hey, I can run with y'all. Or you can be on the bad side of that and be like, stay in the back of the pack. So they want to stay with the middle ground right now and just try and prove themselves.
So we do see a car that was unfamiliar in the practice session up there on top. Kyle Grissett, I believe. Skylar Carnes clocking in at P2. John Kreidler, 3. Joe Tucci and Justin McCarley, top 5 so far in the qualifying session. I do believe we're waiting on just a few more drivers to lay down their qualifying time. Kobe Sutphin looks like he's not got a time yet. Johnny Brugg, Brian Cooper, Jaden Konsturk, Adam Rohn, Tyler Merritt, and Kendall Kerr all waiting to put up a time here. Now, a couple of those drivers maybe scraping the wall, getting that 1X tray. Of course, iRacing, if you do get a 1X in your qualifying session, it does not count that lap.
Yeah, I've been on the bad side of the 1X during qualifying all the time, so I know real well. I can write you a 2-page essay all about that.
Yeah, and of course, some drivers too opting to maybe botch their pit road exit to make sure that they don't get a qualifying lap. Some guys do like to hang out back really early on to try to avoid any early wrecks that may occur, or simply try just to get comfortable for the evening.
Yeah, most definitely. And some of the drivers just want to have their pit boxes all the way in the back because some of them think it's a good strategy to have during the race.
Yeah, very much so. Now, of course, as soon as I say that number 1 car rocking the green and black No Toad Racing League is Johnny Brugg. He's going to take over that top spot from Kyle, so that's going to push Kyle P2, Skyler on row 2 on the inside in 3rd, John Kreidler 4th, and Joe Tucci now in that 5th spot. If we scroll down here, it looks like everybody but Brian Cooper and Jaden Konsturk, and I don't know, maybe one of those drivers also doing race control, so we won't hold their breath. Now, Kobe Sutphin was 6th in practice. Looks like he was able to bring that momentum over to the qualifying session. He's going to find himself right there on the inside of that top 10 in 7th. And I do believe all the vehicles are back down in pit road, so the qualifying sessions are over. We will get these guys on the grid. Johnny Brugg going to be starting row 1 on the inside.
Johnny Brugg, biggest competition so far here for Skylar Carnes, as it seems like in No Toes. Those two were battling out on the edge of the season. Carnes taking over a lot of victories over Brugg, but Brugg has that championship belt like we were talking about. He has the championship under his underneath him with him.
Yeah, we pretty much already went through the top 7 drivers there. Alan Dixon going to be starting P8. Scott Kelly, P9. Al Corey right there on the outside of that 5th row. Will Jester 11th. Scott McCarris in 12th. As we go through the grid here a little bit, in 13th, going to be Marty Rogers. Matt Piracini 14th. Gary Sargent 15th. He's looking to repeat off that 4th place at Talladega last week. Kendall Kerr, 16. John Campbell, 17th. Dustin Barton, ready or waiting to get onto the grid. Looks like he may have. Nope, we're still waiting for him to get on the grid. David Rhodes, going to be your top 20. So a pretty good showing here. Trey, 35 drivers. Booting up iRacing here tonight to make this week 2 at Atlanta. A lot of times everybody shows up for the week 1 super speedway showdown, if you will, and then start to trail off, but it does not look like that is the case here with NTRL, as we've brought back 35 drivers for week 2.
That is really amazing numbers, especially here in Atlanta. And Atlanta is not like a plate track. This is a half a mile track. Well, a mile and a half track, so it's a little bit different, and I'm ready to see what these drivers can put on.
Yeah, a little bit different here. Now, I've yet to drive this track with the ARCA cars. I do have it coming up on one of my other league schedules as a driver. I'm looking forward to it, but I have raced a ton of Xfinity cars here. Now, I know that's kind of, you can't really compare, but Atlanta's a very, very fast track, but you are doing some lifting. Once your tires start to wear off, I think we'll start seeing some of these drivers prefer the high line rather than that low line. But, of course, until that happens, these guys, I mean, they're going to be racing wherever they choose until they get that tire wear.
Oh yeah, I agree fully. Like, I've only raced this track once in the ARCA cars. It's been a while, but I remember using that low lane for a while, and then I was starting to wear on my tires, so I started using that high side.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We appreciate the early birds. We appreciate you tuning into now. The pace car is off. Lap 1 of the Stay Puft 200 with NTRL starts now.
Look at Carnes, who's trailing on the inside right there. Brugg entering turn 1. Those two already ahead of the pack. You can see how fast they are. And Caution's already out.
Looks like Brian Cooper, Jaden Consturk wrapped up into that. Maybe a couple of others. We'll definitely take a look back at that replay here momentarily. Definitely not how you want to start off a race, but sometimes it happens. We've seen it IRL with the NASCAR guys. It happens quite a bit here on iRacing Simulator. With these starts, everybody's bunched in there. We don't. We had the practice session and the qualifying, but Trey, there's nothing like the real race, and these drivers maybe just a little jumpy here at the beginning of this race.
And every driver needs to watch out for the aggressiveness, but they're trying to get as many positions as they can, especially for strategy here.
That looks like the 8 car just diving down into the 96 there, so that's going to cause that. It looked like maybe a third bystander wrapped up into that.
Yeah, it was a little misfortunate crash in the backpack.
So that's going to be most likely 2 cars. I mean, for sure the 8, as you see him just kind of drive through that 96 car. That's going to be a quick repair out of that number 8 car for sure. And I believe that's Skylar Carnes' guy, isn't it?
Who?
Wasn't he the guy that was racing with your brother last week, pushing him up to the front?
Jaden Consturk, right? Yeah, I know. I immediately switched my cameras to him, and I saw he has a lot of bad front damage, and especially wrecking here on the second lap. Not making his reputation any better here in No Toes Racing League.
Yeah, so a real early, real early wreck there involving 2 cars for sure, having to come down pit road, most likely both of them. Having to use a quick repair on lap 1 is not what you want to do. I think that 66 car made out a little bit lucky there. He's going to have some side damage, but I think at Atlanta you can get away with a little bit of damage like that on your car, Trey, unlike last week at Talladega.
Oh yeah, draft isn't a real big factor here. It's all about letting on and off of the throttle in the corners. Your braking point, even if that comes in a factor. But damage, aerodynamics can affect a little bit, but it's not as much as it did at Ploy Track.
Yeah, let's not be making up any words like we did last week. I'm trying to.
I guarantee you all have 2 slip-ups.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what that was last week, but we'll let it slide this time. As we did talk a little bit to Sarge, they do use generated weather. That's why the track temps are going to be super hot here tonight. We heard Kobe speak on that at one point in time, 120 degrees on the track here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, week 2 at Atlanta. No Toad Racing League celebrating their 20th season here with the ARCA cars and the Stay Puft 200. Be sure to also give this channel a like over on twitch.com/FadedTV. 2 underscores after TV. But if you're nice and comfy over on the YouTube, feel free to stick with that as well as we get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. Well, the race just started. Dustin, if you don't mind, let's get underway a little bit, and I'm sure we can make our way through the field. As Trey, you mentioned, Skylar Carnes right up there on the outside of Johnny Brugg. These guys battled it out all last week, and it looks like they are going to be doing the same here at Atlanta.
As the green flag waves back out here in Atlanta, Skylar Carnes with the outside momentum. Having a 94 push him a little bit, even though, like I said, draft doesn't play a big factor here, as they're going to be coming in turn 1 and 2 side by side still. Carnes on that high side trying to hit that exit, that perfect exit off Brugg. He does so. They're still side by side on the back stretch.
Yeah, everybody playing nice and getting along on this restart. Lap 5, but don't be deceived. This is our first green flag. If we can make it around out of turn 4, there is Skylar Carnes making the pass on Johnny Brugg. And he's going to be your new race leader.
Brugg going down a little lower than usual in the entrance. He's right there on Carnes' tail. Don't count out that number 94 behind them.
Yeah, in that Walmart car, the 94 of Joe Tucci making his way up 3 spots is also Kobe Sutphin in the 95. Kyle Gersech, I hope I'm saying that right. Of course, Cal, contact me, let me know. Already down 3 spots. He's hanging out in that top 5. Followed by John Kreidler in the 99, back 2 spots in 6th. John Malarkey, Scott McCarkis, Alan Dixon, and Al Corey in the top 10. So a couple of these drivers, Scott McCarkis up 4 spots. He started P12, making his way into the top 10 at 8th here in the early going.
Good battles throughout the pack as I'm checking out right now. Especially still up front, it's a good battle for first still early on. Drivers pushing their cars to the limit somewhat. They want to save as much tires as they can because tire wear obviously is a big factor. The 94 was in the wall for the entrance of turn 3. He's going to drop down.
Yeah, that's Joe Tucci in the number 4, Kobe Sutphin. Looking on the inside, 94 checks down low. He's going to close the door on that. Skylar still your race leader. Jacob Klinkhardt up 5 spots. He started 23rd. He's now up to 18th, so he's on the move here. Lap 9 out of 130. So definitely some drivers to keep our eye on as they make their way up through the field. You see him on the inside of that 21 car of David Rhodes. So now up 6 spots. Back up front, though, where these guys are racing for the lead. Skylar Carnes on the outside. You see the 94 running that really high line, almost up there on the wall. Johnny Brugg's preferring the inside line. We got a four-driver battle up here between Skylar Carnes, Joe Tucci, Johnny Brugg, and Kobe Sutphin.
I was about to put my input for a previous lap or so. Brugg went on the inside of Carnes, tried to take it away from him in 1 and 2, but Carnes got a really good exit off 2. Was able to keep it 4th in the 94 of Joe Tucci. He was keeping his nose in it the whole time still. Oh, little contact there with the wall in the 95.
Yeah, it looks like Kobe's going to be able to hold on to it. He's obviously going to lose pace and lose 2 spots. There's now the 99 car of John Kreidler back up to P4. Joe Tucci had 2nd place there momentarily. Looked like he was on a terror of a run, but Johnny Brugg reclaiming that P2 with the quickness.
That's one thing you also do not want to do is challenge drivers who know how to save their tires and be fast, because you'll lose your tires in a snap just like that, especially at a track like this. Especially, I'm saying that word a lot, but strategy and all for the long run, this really comes in play, and that's why you see some of the drivers staying in the back because they're trying to make good strategy and trying to save their tires whenever they need to.
Yeah, relatively a long race here, 130 laps. Definitely ain't no walk in the park, especially when you only have 3 sets of tires and 1 quick repair. You're making sure you're taking care of the car, not being too aggressive of a driver, taking care of your equipment. But then on the other side of that, making sure you're taking care of that front right in particular, with only having 3 sets of tires here tonight.
And 3 sets for others at home, 3 sets is not a lot. So, especially a track like this.
Alex Goff and Jacob Klinghardt up 7 and 8 spots respectively. Alex in this 00 Mountain Dew car crossing the start-finish line there, up 7 spots, making his way up to 14th. Some of these drivers, as you just said, Trey, some of these guys trying to keep their pace, maybe hang back, and then drivers like Alex and Jacob, who maybe had a bad qualifying session, certainly making use of this first set of tires that they brought with them and try to get up towards the front as soon as possible.
Totally, because drivers, like I said, strategy comes into a factor, and that's a major part of racing, is perfectly timing out the pit stop, making sure you stay on pace with the lead cars. It's just trying to go on a gamble, too. That is one way you can also pit, is you can stay out and pray to God there is a caution.
Yeah, and certainly not one that's, before the first turn is made. That's not going to really do anybody some justice. But since then, we've had about 11 laps of clean racing here. Kobe getting into the wall a little bit, down onto the back corner panel of Johnny Bruggs. Haven't really seen any scuffles after that, and it looks like Kobe was able to hold on tight as he still is P6. Man, Skylar Carnes is just on a roll this year. Of course, we talked about it a little bit last week. Trey, your brother, second generational driver here at No Toads Racing League. What is it about Skylar so far? And I'm going back to the preseason races, able to win 3 races in a row. What is it about that 47 car that he gets so dialed in and week out?
Any single time I go and see him downstairs on the simulator whenever he has his free time. If he's going to make any use out of that free time, he's going to sit on the sim and practice. That's the only way I can tell you any of these drivers get better. It's because he sits down, and he's only had iRacing since late 2019. He's already made it at A-class this far.
Yeah, and I apologize to Johnny Brugg. I said that was the No Toad Racing League paint scheme. It is definitely not. I think I just saw the T and the L, and then looked away and started talking. But that is Turf Lords for that number 1 car. So I wanted to make sure, just in case that has some importance to him and anybody watching out there, that is not No Toads Racing League. That is Turf Lords. Trey, you know anything about that, or?
You cut out there on the last part.
I just asked you if you know anything about some of these drivers, like with him and his Turf Lords paint scheme, or any of these drivers, for example, that may have sponsors.
I can name 1 car, and that's the lead car. That's the only one I know. Unfortunately, some of these drivers, though, like we said last week, they're running their favorite drivers' paint schemes in the early 2000s in NASCAR and just late racing. As 21 of David Rose is coming down pit road as we speak. Same for the 27 of Marty Rogers.
Yeah, one person I wanted to key into tonight was Brandon Ward. Let's go ahead and take a look. He wanted to let me know that he allows his 2 kids to paint his car week in and week out. And so this is the creation that both his kids came up with here tonight. So I thought that was a pretty cool deal. Wanted to make sure Brandon, that we got a good view of that. He'll be able to show that to his kids, and they'll be able to sit there and look at the artwork that they were able to put on the 348 car of Brandon Ward.
Really amazing to see a scheme like that. That's the thing about No Toes, I love is all these creative, just everyone with a passion for their families and such, and just running something like this really, really brings me warmth for my heart.
Yeah, we see the inside there, decked out white and pink for Brandon tonight. He's got the Coors car of Terry Fullwider trying to make a run on him on the outside now. This is the battle for 16th. And Trey, Joe Tucci not having a hot start here. It looked like at one point he had the pace to compete for the lead. I think he might have made a little bit of a mistake, as he does right now live on our screen. But that 94 car of Joe Tucci now back 10 spots in 15th.
Yeah, he seemed like he was competing hard up there with the 47 of Skylar Carnes and number 1 of Johnny Rugg. And that's the thing I was telling everyone earlier on is using your tires at the right moment. And it seems like he's hit the wall, banged it up a couple times, and just used all of his tires.
Yeah, as Kyle makes his way back up into the top 3, he started in second, dropped back earlier on into the race, but he's got his Napa Auto Parts 7 back up to third. John Kreidler still maintaining P4. That's where he started the race. John Malarkey up a spot in 5th, and Kendall Kerr. We just talked about a driver down 10 spots. Well, this 30 car has moved up 10 spots and finds himself P6.
Really amazing move here by Kendall Kerr, fighting that little battle with Justin Malarkey and John Kreidler for the battle of 4th. I just also wanted to point it out, we are 26 laps deep into this race, and look at the leaders of Carnes and Brugg. Brugg right on that tail of Carnes, going to look inside, but they're both been hanging out with each other for 26 laps already.
Yeah, and their lead about 2.5 seconds and growing on that third place car of Kyle Grasech. So these guys starting to run away here a little bit with the pace. We see Carnes still favoring the inside as he dips down to that white line. Johnny Brugg staying there at about the middle of the track. But nonetheless, more than keeping pace with race leader Skylar Carnes. Lap 27. About 20 of these have been green flag racing, and Skylar Carnes looks like he's coming down pit road. That scared me. It didn't look like that's what happened. It looked like he started getting loose off turn 4 there, and then I realized what happened. And I'm not sure if Johnny knew what was going on, because it looked like he almost got into the back end of this 47 car. So not too sure if that was the case, if Skylar didn't call that out, or if that's just the way that it played out. But the race leader, Skylar Carnes, coming down pit road, lap 28.
Really early pit stop here for the 47 machine. Seems like he was going to take it just too fast for a couple set of tires. Probably got too on and a splash of fuel, or that was a complete accident. And really weird on why he pitted early, but if so, then you should see a bunch of drivers start coming sooner or later.
Yeah, I think these guys are on 55 or 65% fuel. That early caution may be helping a little bit, but I was just getting ready to talk and ask you if you had any idea what the pit window might be, but I didn't have to. It looks like that 25 to 30 laps is going to start pulling people in under green as more cars do make their way down pit road here. We are under our first session of green flag pit stops. Oh, looks like we had some trouble there. I think that might have been Kyle Grasecki getting off track here. Let's go back and take a look at this, as we only did catch the end of that. Oh, yeah, definitely had to pump his brakes. Looks like he locked him up. You can see the tire marks in the cone right there on the right of your screen. So definitely misjudging his pit entry there. Probably coming in a little too hot. Had to lock him up, and that's going to take you to the grass.
Really unfortunate pit stop there for Mike McGirt, I think so. I can't remember it, but really unfortunate for him. Had to push down a lot of the brakes, but a lot of these drivers are going to be taking a gamble. Somewhat, I think some of them are going to be praying for a caution and such.
Yeah, Johnny Bruggs
We have an
remaining.
incident here with Gary Sargent. There's 00. They're all going around here on the backstretch. The 95 around, and that does bring a caution.
Yeah, it looks like Kobe Sutphin of the 95 involved, the 28 car of Sarge in that Jacksonville Jaguars paint scheme as well. Alex Goff involved, and you were just talking about it, Trey. Good timing, or maybe bad timing for the drivers, but you were just talking about some of these drivers who do like to prolong these green flag sessions until their tank is empty. Whether it may be because they're comfortable with driving on those tires till that point, or, especially in Bruggs' case, he knows that Carnes already came down pit road. If he can extend it as long as he can and be able to pick up some of these cheeky cautions, he's going to be in good shape coming out of pit road.
I agree with you on that fully, and just unfortunate for some of those guys in the back. I'm pretty sure that was a merging issue, which merging can be a little difficult, or just a racing incident. I haven't gone back and looked at it myself, but that was a huge wreck.
That was a big one. Kobe Sutphin, the 00 car. These guys are going to have to be coming down for sure and using their quick repairs. I'm not sure Kobe's even going to make it down pit road. He doesn't. His front left tire. If we go back and take a look at that, this was a pretty big wreck for a couple of these guys. Let's go back and take a look at this from the chase can. Gary Sarge gets up on the wall, the 00 car underneath him. Oh, boy. Yeah, that was a big wreck for the 00 and the 95 car. I mean, no questions asked. They're going to have to be using their quick repair.
I was spectating Sarge that whole time around, and I just saw him get involved, and luckily I picked it up right whenever it happened. And really bad wreck. Like, words can't describe that, really. Just unfortunate events, especially I don't know the driver's name or lore number. I can't see it, but oh yeah, right there. Yeah, for Sargent, really bad. He hit the wall there on the exit.
So that's going to shake some things up here for a couple of these drivers. But not the number 1 car of Johnny Brugg, as we said right before we looked at that replay. Decided to stay out. He was able to come down and make his pit stop under caution. Justin Malarkey going to be starting on that front row as well on the outside. Kendall Kerr, Trey, a huge winner here, up 13 spots. He's going to be starting on the inside of row 2.
Kendall Kerr going to be trying. I guarantee he's going to be trying to go at it here with Johnny Brugg on the restart whenever we get to it. Really impressive night for him. And that 30 white machine. I can't really see the sponsor on it. Ethereum.
Yeah, and there are a couple of big winners here. Jacob Cleancart, we mentioned a little bit, moving his way through the field under green, but since that caution came out, up 16 spots, cracking the top 10 along with Terry Fullwider for the first time tonight, 7th and 9th respectively. We take a couple of looks at John Barton up 17 spots, Aaron Sayer, John Crutchley, both up 14 spots in 13th and 14th. So definitely a lot of shuffling going on after that caution, which is obviously, Trey, a result of just, I would assume, half the field coming down under green, half of them staying out up until that caution.
Yeah, so it's going to be a mixture of things right now with strategy and drivers.
Still long way to go here. Some of these guys that are lapped down going to be putting on a good race for that lucky dog. Try to get that lap back. 130 laps at Atlanta. These guys don't have an unlimited tire set, so I doubt that's going to be our only caution of the night. Still plenty of racing to go for some of these drivers that unluckily got caught out, who came down under green, got a lap down. As you see in your relative, though, unfortunately, we do have a handful of cars multiple laps down. So they got a tough night ahead of them, a long night ahead of them, but so do we. And we'll see how it plays out towards the end of this race. And there is the green flag, and it looks like that 30 car is actually going to spin the tires. That might bring out another quick caution. So we're waiting to see lap 36. It looks like not how you want to restart.
We're still going green, bro. Falling back.
Yeah, I wonder if Brugg thought that was going to be a caution and let off as that 30 car, Kendall Kerr, and he gets into Al Corey in the 45. Sends Corey up there, hits the wall. Now he's back down in the infield of turn 1. And we'll go back and try to take a look at this the best that we can. See if I can scroll back up here. We're just going to start with the green flag here. Let's hop back on with our chase cam. Go back to this green flag with the 30 car of Kendall Kerr. Oh, yeah, you see him start spinning the tires, getting a little bit loose. Unfortunately, Al Corey getting wrapped up into that. Both these cars down onto the infield at the front stretch. That's going to be the replay for that, I suppose. Thank you, SDKI Racing Live Timing. We appreciate that. Alan Dixon, though, up here as we go back to live. Going to be the new race leader. As you said, I don't know if you can go back and take a look at that for us, Trey, but did Johnny Bruggs check up because he thought it was going to be a caution? Or did he also get caught up in something and get off track?
On photo memory, I believe he did check up and almost got caught into something. That's why he had to go so far back. But that's on photo memory. I'll go back and do that for you right now.
Yeah, we just saw the replay live. It looks like he, too, got a little bit loose there. Not too sure if that just has to do with the we talked to a couple of these drivers. The track temps are very high here in Atlanta, 120-plus degrees. Looked like he, too, started spinning his tires. And unfortunately, nowhere to go for the car behind him. That car chose not to check up. And just got into the back of that one car, setting him down in the infield as well. So that is why we have these faces up here, such as Alan Dixon, your new race leader, Jacob Klinkart, who we talked, having a good run, up 21 spots, up in a P2. And Terry Fullwider up 22 spots now, sitting P3.
Carnes coming down pit road once again. Some issues here for the 47 machine.
Yeah, and that's a pretty big deal for Skylar Clarns. I hope we didn't give him the old broadcaster's curse up here. Was praising him all night before the broadcast and even a little bit at the beginning of the race. He did lead pretty much all those laps before having to come down for his green flag pit stop. So not too sure what's going on with him. We'll try to get a race update for that driver, last week's winner at Talladega momentarily. But he might be a little frustrated. And we'll see. We'll keep you guys updated on Skylar Clarns when we can.
I actually got the update right now. I went back and checked it on lap 38. Coming out of the corner of 2, he got a little loose there off the exit, slid up, hit the wall for the all way through the back stretch and into the entrance of 3. So right side damage there for the 47 Pontiac machine of Skylar Clarns.
Yeah, and Jacob Klinkart going to actually take over this race in that 5 car. He's your new race leader. Now, I was looking back at last week's result, Trey, and I know it's Talladega. I know it's a speedway. A lot of things can happen. But I think we had like 9 or 10 different leaders at Talladega last week, and that was just something that stuck out to me, whether it was a speedway or not. That I think that just goes to show you, and we're seeing it right now, too, just how competitive this league is. Yes, Skylar and Bruggs, they get their name called out a lot. They're up front for the most part, but anytime these drivers can strike, anybody in this league can lead these races and potentially come out with a win.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. If the top 2, like, if they fall out, anybody can go no matter what. Even if they're racing, there's still other guys in this league that are very, very competitive. And this just shows it out tonight, especially with the number 30 of Kendall Kerr. Even though he had some unfortunate unfortunate misfits happen to him, he'll still race it hard up there for with Brugg and Carnes earlier on.
Yeah, Brandon Ward notably up 20 spots. We showcase him a little bit in that 348 car, so he's definitely on the move here, as it looks like he's getting ready to battle for third. Matt Puricini up 9 spots into the top 5 for the first time tonight. He has his 24 Chevrolet up there. Will Jester behind him. Justin Barton up 11 spots. And race sponsor Jason Benson in his Stay Puft 42 car has cracked the top 10, up 14 spots in P8.
The only unfortunate thing these drivers don't want to hear is that there's still plenty of racing left, especially if you're in the back of the pack. That is good news. If you're up in the pack, that is some bad news, especially for Brugg and Carnes. But Carnes has that issue on the right side, so he still has one faster pair left, but he needs to use it. Oh, a little bit of issues there coming off the turn of with jetting Concert. He got a little bit loose and went down on the inside of the apron.
If you guys are just joining us here, lap 46, week 2 of the 20th season, No Toad Racing League. This is the Stay Puft 200 at Atlanta. You're watching it live over on No Toad Racing League's YouTube and also Faded TV over on Twitch.com. We appreciate you guys tuning in, as it looks like we have a really interesting race brewing up here for us. And we're not even halfway through this thing, Trey.
Oh, yeah, there's been major cautions so far. Drivers getting the unfortunate incidents on the track. And, yeah, on the track, especially with that early caution with jetting Constark and just that unfortunate events for Gary Sarge coming off of 2.
So as you see, the first 6 drivers here, or the top 6 drivers, I should say, that 74 car of Will Jester on the back end of this first group, all single file, starting to pull away a little bit, as I believe Will Jester is about 3 seconds in front of Dustin Barton. That's not exact. That was just kind of a quick math here, but nonetheless, these top 6 drivers starting to pull away, but Trey also starting to come up on some lap traffic, so this could get real interesting here within the next 5 to 10 laps.
Oh, yeah. With lap traffic, you're going to have to maneuver your car around all of them, which is going to slow you up a little bit from your racing line. That will bring the drivers behind you quicker and quicker, but also they will have to manage that lap traffic, so you want to get through it as fast as you can and put it on the other guys.
And while we have some green flag racing, let's take a lap around Atlanta with race leader Jacob Klinkart. You know, I really wish iRacing would provide a static cam for all these tracks. I feel like some tracks do have them. For the viewers at home, a static cam for iRacing basically just involves like the cameras that you see in a real NASCAR race that are pre-placed on the barrier, the wall of the track, and it just stays there. It won't follow the car. And it's really unique and really good, but only a certain amount of tracks come with that camera. So I feel like iRacing's missing out a little bit there, as we're on lap 51 here out of 130. Jason Klink still taking care of business up front.
As we saw with his driver's point of view of him, he was taking it down, easy in corners, letting off as he could, keeping his car at keeping his wheel at an 11 o'clock angle. Best way to save tires. His drivers are now using the middle of the track, as we saw at the beginning of restarts in the beginning of the race. We saw the drivers diving deep down in that inside. Now you just see them all running that middle lane.
Yeah, and this is important right here. This 30 car that the 5's on the inside. is the or was the last car on lead lap. Kendall Kerr sitting back in 22nd. Now going a lap down to race leader here momentarily. We'll see if he'll be able to keep up with these guys or if he just stays up there high, allowing some of these race leaders to follow suit. You hate going a lap down under green, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, I was always a part of that every single time whenever I was racing. It really didn't affect me because I was racing out there for points, but still, really good, really unfortunate events here for Kendall Kerr. He was running the top 3 earlier on. Now he's being lapped down by the current leader, Jacob Klinkart.
Yeah, Jacob on a really good run here since taking that lead early on that restart. If you guys missed it, we had a couple of leaders spin their tires and basically just get shoved out of the way and definitely losing a lot of track position. So since Jacob took over the lead, he has been up there with Terry as well. Terry Fullwider up 23 spots in P2. Definitely holding down, but he's about a half a second behind Jacob. So Jake really on a big run here.
And this is really cool to see other drivers, especially this season, other drivers you wouldn't see up front. It can make a name for themselves this season later on. Like, and winning the second race can be huge here for Jacob Klinkart. The only downside is there's still plenty of racing left to go. We're on lap 55 out of 130. My apologies for that. But as you can see, he's pulling away now from Terry Fullwider.
Yeah, and there are a ton of drivers that are up significantly since the beginning of this race. This 96 car of Brian Cooper up 25 spots, gatekeeping that top 10 right now. John Crutchley, who's behind him in 11th, up 17 spots. It's good to see Sarge back out there as he had to come down pit road, but he's in P12. And John Barton behind him in that 68 car, P13, up 20 spots. So a lot of drivers making some moves here midway through the race. A couple of other noticeable drivers that were involved in some early wrecks having to come down, use quick repairs. Kobe Sutphin, he's finding his way back into the top 10, sitting in 8th. The 00 car of Alex Goff, who does still find himself a lap down, but right now he has a shot to race for that lucky dog. And even better news, his car looks good. Had to come down and use a quick repair, but certainly not out of it yet, Trey, as these guys still battle it out for that lucky dog.
Plenty of drivers here wanting to get the lucky dog to put themselves on the lead lap once again, but the track is spreading now so much now that lap traffic is now interfering with our leaders. But that's one thing, if you're in the back of the pack, you don't want to see this track start to spread out, especially if you're far back, because you see that number 5 Jacob Klinkart in your mirror, you're like, uh-oh.
Unfortunate start for Jaden in that 8 car, rocking that Dale Earnhardt Incorporated Budweiser throwback scheme. Was involved in a wreck before we even hit lap 1. So that was unfortunate for him. He's still trying to find his footing here at Atlanta as we're almost halfway through the race here. But he's sitting back in 27th, multiple laps down. So he's trying to work his way up through the field, try to gain some track position as well. Maybe make a late run here, Trey. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe we get a couple of more cautions towards the end of this race. If he's not involved of them, you know, maybe some other cars who've already used their quick repairs, they got to do a DNF. He's right back there. Even if it's not on the lead lap, maybe he can sneak in a top 15.
Oh, yeah, and looking at all these cars, you can see a lot of damage on the right sides of a lot of them. And there's some front damage there for Brandon Ward, it seemed like, on his right front. He's gone to the wall a little bit, too. You can see a lot of the drivers getting into the wall, especially how hot the track is, because you're sliding, coming off exit, getting loose. Because track temperature, pretty sure it's pretty hot right now.
Absolutely, and we talked about it before, but I know there's some guys that came in late. These guys do use generated weather. It was very, very hot here at Atlanta in the practice session and the qualifying session. 120 plus degrees down there on the track, bringing a whole new meaning to hot Atlanta. Back up front though, Matt Puricini in that 24 car, battling it out for second. That's Alan Dixon in the 33 on that high line. Of course, the 24 of Matt on the inside. Terry Fullwider, who was looking really comfortable up there in P2, he's starting to lose some track position. He might be fighting some tire wear, to whereas the 33 and the 24 car might have been holding back a little bit, Trey, as they now start making their way up into the top three.
Don't count them out. They said they're trying to make their way, like you just said, up in the P3. And Alan Dixon was having the battle there with Matthew Persini, and seems like Dixon was able to pull ahead and get in the second. If I can't remember if he was or wasn't in second, but he's going to try to track down Quincark right now.
Yeah, and this is Alan Dixon in the Coca-Cola 33. Up 6 spots. Will Jester top 5 right now, running in front of Kobe Sutphin, who really is starting to find his footing here at Atlanta after that caution that he was in. It looks like he's going to dive down onto the inside of that 30 car. Now, that is not for position, that 30 car being a lap down, Kobe not. So Kobe's going to make light work of that. He's going to check back up high as we get ready to go into turn 3. So Kobe on the move as he's looking to get back into the top 5 coming up on lap 65. John Crutchley in the top 10 for the first time. Looks like he's got a Cartoon Network paint scheme out there. I believe I saw Scooby-Doo on the hood of that car. He's up 19 spots in 9th. So a good green flag run here for John Crutchley. We've only saw 2 cautions here at Atlanta, one being on the very first lap. Then we went green for about 25 laps before that second caution came out. So we've seen a lot of green flag runs here tonight, which is always so good for the viewers at home. It's good for us in the booth, and it's always good for the drivers down there as these races are long as it is. As you see 130 laps, definitely want to do the least amount of eye pacing as you can here, especially in league races, Trey.
All right, and something I wanted to point out is our leaders, Clint Hart, Dixon, everyone has came down pit road just now for refuel and some good Eagles on their car.
Yeah, all the leaders that were up there coming down pit road. Some of the drivers, middle of the field too, following suit with those leaders. So here is the look off pit road. We've seen Sarge out there just a moment ago. Sid Kashishian, Jason Benson, John Crutchley, all these guys leaving pit road as we start seeing more cars shuffle in. That's going to give Justin Malarkey some bonus laps in that 97 car. I'm not too sure now. He's going to come down pit road. I wasn't too sure what the standing said there, Trey. I'm not sure if he led a lap or not, but nonetheless, he's coming down pit road.
On my side, it said he was in P2. Now he's in P1. Pretty weird.
Nonetheless, after green flag pit stop, so it looks like everybody who was on lead lap has made their way down pit road. As for a moment, we saw Clink back up there in the lead, but the combination of Alan Dixon and Matt Puricini just blowing the doors off of Jacob for that moment. And Alan Dixon now going to take control of this race.
really cool seeing the Coke beer once again on a paint scheme for a while. Just something I wanted to point out. Found Dixon's Coca-Cola scheme tonight. Just really cool to see the Coke beer back.
Yeah, and the old school Coca-Cola as well, like late 90s, early 2000s when they did that polar bear. That was so popular back then. So a nice throwback from Alan Dixon. I'm going to have to step away momentarily and grab some water, Trey. I feel like I'm losing my voice. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
All right, you're fine. As Matthew Kersing is still trailing behind. Earlier on, it was Jacob Klinkhardt. He is now in P4, trying to make his way back up to the top 3 here, with Terry Fodwider sitting in 3rd and Matt Kersing in 2nd. Alan Dixon, your leader here at Atlanta.
All right, sorry about that, folks. Felt like I was having to yell into my microphone just to get a decent volume to come out of there. I do apologize, but I am back. And unfortunately for Trey, as far as the broadcast goes, you don't have any control over the camera, so we just stuck with the leader there for a little bit while Alan Dixon. How's the rest of the field been looking as far as some of these drivers making their way or trying to make their way back through the field who are a lap down, maybe was able to get it back on those green flag restarts?
Yeah, looking through the field, Brandon Ward sitting in 6th right now. Carnes in 21st. Unfortunate events that's happened to him tonight. Caught up with that, again, loose off of exit 2 and sidewalling the backstretch, and just unfortunate for him tonight. And for Brugg, got loose off the restart, and his tires just didn't want to work with him.
Alrighty, fair enough. Great reporting.
I'm looking for the words. I guarantee, give me like 2-3 more races, I'll be back to where I was.
But you're all good, brother. Appreciate you. Johnny Brugg here with a disappointing race so far. Now, he did have the pole coming in here to tonight and looked really good up until that fatal restart that I know we've touched base on a couple of times. But it was such a huge impact to how this race is playing out right now. And he's back on the lead lap. Looks like he's in 15th and trying to make his way back up through the field, but still almost 30 seconds off the pace that Alan Dixon has set.
Some trouble here on the exit of 2. A lot of cars rolling around on the apron. Joe Tucci, his car is slanted to the left really, really badly. There's a little bit of misfortune off the exit of 2 once again.
Yeah, and it looks like the front left of his car having some heavy damage there. He's going to have to come down pit road. Not too sure if he was one of those drivers that had to use a quick repair before or not. And he might actually get caught speeding down pit road. Of course, I can't see the driver info there, but he was locking them brakes. You can see he's got no front left tire on that 94 car. So let's stay on board with him real quick. See if he's got a quick repaired left. Nonetheless, he's going to lose a bunch of time, a bunch of positions. And I don't know who else was involved in that. I'm not even getting any off tracks on my iRacing Live timing, unfortunately, to really see what was going on back there. Trey, what'd you notice?
I was switching my camera angles. I just saw a car's turn in here. Joe Tucci having a little bit of misfortune there, and there's this neon car I can't seem to find who was almost seems like he was almost in the grass in 3 and 4. John Kreidler, he swerved right off the apron, almost hit Tushy, and yeah, a lot of adventures happened there.
Yeah, as we do check in with John here, looks like his car's okay in that black and green 99, no damage taken. So a rough night for some of these drivers, gets a little bit more rough. Is it more rough or rougher? I'm not too sure. Maybe the folks at home can give me some education there. But nonetheless, not a good night for some of these guys. Week 2, season 20, struggling here at Atlanta. But some of these guys, when others struggle, some others really start to shine. And that's what we've seen out of Terry Fullwider and Alan Dixon, Matt Piracini, Will Jester, and Brandon Ward, your top 5 drivers right now, as we did stay under green, lap 80, really coming to fruition here in week 2. John Campbell in the Krispy Kreme's 117 car. Love Krispy Kreme's, man. He's up into the top 10 for, I believe, the first time tonight, up 7 spots overall. He started 17th 81 laps ago, so he's in the top 10, having himself a fine night. Some drivers that are notably back on the charge. Now, these guys were wrapped up in some early caution, some early wrecks. Gary Surgeon here in 11th. Johnny Brugg making his way up to 12th. As this race continues to stay under green, these guys are making some significant time on this mid-pack here.
Brugg, your defending champion that's now in NTRL, sitting right now in P12, had a little bit of unfortunate events. Have been saying that word all night on the restart. He's sitting back in 12th, like I just said. My brain is going everywhere. My bad. He's raging his way up to the field. So yeah.
Well, that is to answer a question from the Twitch chat. That's because Twitch does not compress any of the video. So right now, if you watch it on Twitch, you're getting a true 1080p, to where on YouTube, I do not think that you were. So we appreciate you following the stream over here on Twitch. We appreciate you making the jump over here. That's not to encourage anybody to leave the No Toad Racing League YouTube. They appreciate all the views and the support over there. But just to answer that question, Yeti, that's why sometimes it'll look better on Twitch, because Twitch doesn't compress or condense the quality of the video. As we bring up the track map, this is more for me and you guys at home, but certainly for me to kind of get a grasp of where these cars are at. As you can see, Trey, a lot of this field is divided. We have cars all over the place. That happens. Green flag pit stops, of course. But trying to catch where some of the hot action is tough right now, as these guys are spread out. And nobody, thankfully nobody's wrecking, but just some single file racing right now in these groups.
Drivers taking it easy now, trying to save as much as they can. I'm having an issue with my iRacing. All the cars just disappeared, so I'm going to fix this real quickly. So,
yeah, no problem, Yeti, and we appreciate the follow over here on Faded TV. Sometimes we will interact with chat. If you guys that are watching this, I know you guys sometimes like to reach out to us. Sometimes I see all you guys' comments, but I try to refrain and just try to put on as much of a professional broadcast like what you would see on TV. But there are some times that we'll reach out and interact with you guys and make sure that some questions are being answered. Not all of them will be, but I know I got beat up in chat for calling Jacob Jason. I love that kind of stuff. Keep bringing that on all season long. As Jacob Klinkart, after having such a good run, Trey, after those green flag pit stops, has now found himself back to 12th. I'm not too sure if he had to come back down pit road or not, but he's pretty far off pace, sitting there outside of the top 10.
Oh yeah, I agree with you fully right there. I'm getting booted right back in my iRacing right now. Had a little issue, so I can't really see anything really going on except for what's going on the stream. But yeah, Jacob Klinkart pushing it on. Not bad where he's at, but not first place as he taps the wall a little bit right there. As I was seeing on my stream for a second.
That is all right, brother. You do you. Get loaded back into the iRacing.com, the official NASCAR simulator. They signed that deal a little bit earlier this year. I think really trying to get a deal done before some of these other leagues, now that the NASCAR genre is starting to take a turn as far as licensing goes. Obviously, we have a new studio making NASCAR Ignition this year. That game looks beautiful. We'll have to see how it plays out. But right now, iRacing.com is doing and has been doing a phenomenal job for the hardcore sim racers that want to take racing seriously and take it to the next level. So iRacing and NASCAR getting that deal done just a few months ago definitely has a bright future here moving forward.
And during COVID, this is what the drivers have been using the whole time for tracks that they can't get practice or qualifying on. So they come on here, hop onto the iRacing simulator to put their laps in. Really easy for William Byron, but hard for guys like Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick in the back.
We see the 5 car coming down or coming off pit road, one of the two. Now, we saw the first green flag pit stops, Trey, happened, I believe, a few of them happened a little bit earlier than we suspected, with Skyler coming down, I think, lap 26. Everybody else pretty much followed suit at lap 29 to 30. Now, there was an early caution. We didn't get back to green flag racing until about lap 6 or 7, so you can take 6 laps out of there. Are we looking at about 25 laps of green flag runs until these guys are coming down?
Yeah, that's seeing about it, and that's seeming right to what I'm looking at right now. Large driver.
Kendall Kerr kind of having an up and down night in that 30 car. Dustin Barton inside the top 20, sitting 17th. Ken Olsen Jr. up 12 spots in P18. So he's having a pretty good run here. John Barton, who qualified 33rd, is inside the top 20, right there at 20. So he's having a pretty good run considering where he started. And then it starts getting a little tough, and I'm not picking on any of these drivers. There was some nasty cautions that happened, some bad fortunate, or some bad fortune, let's just say, for some of these drivers like John Kreidler, Al Corey. These guys are, 15 to 20 spots off from when they started this race. Hanging in tough there, though. It's always tough when you're multiple laps down to keep racing, finding that drive. These guys are doing that, but certainly not what they had planned here at Atlanta. They're going to be looking to bounce back after the off week next week. These guys are off. So for the drivers that are having a tough week this week, they're going to be able to kind of reset and come back in 2 weeks. So I do bring up that schedule again because of Labor Day holiday. These guys are going to be off on September 5th, returning September 12th at Iowa Speedway. And then after that, on the 19th, is going to be Daytona Road Course. So that's going to be a huge advantage for some of the road course ringers that may be in this league. Maybe some of those guys have that week crossed off. They don't want nothing to do with it. But I would assume a handful of these drivers have Daytona Road Course circled on that schedule, as we do have road course ringers throughout all these leagues that just really perform well at the road courses. Daytona Road Course being a really good track. A road course ringer myself. I love stock car racing on road courses. And so I'd be looking forward to calling that race, but unfortunately, I'll be down in Bristol, Tennessee, IRL that weekend, watching the race that weekend. But that should be a banger of a weekend. So,
Well, I'll see you there too.
oh yeah, you're gonna be down in Bristol, huh?
I live 20 minutes away from the track. I shouldn't be saying that on stream, but people can guess. That's all I'm saying. I'm always at Bristol every single year, but yeah, I'll probably be there. So dang. Well, I personally, I'm not a road course fan. I am really, really bad at commentating road courses because I get so confused with the turns and like which turn they're going into. So like, if I could stream it, I can, but since that's Bristol weekend, don't know if I will be able to. So we'll see.
John Campbell, somebody I brought up just a few moments ago, a few laps back, up to P2. Obviously, we are under green flag pit stops here, lap 99, but somebody who's been very, very consistent here tonight, keeping his car clean. I'm pretty sure still has a quick repair left. I haven't really seen or remember calling him out in some of these cautions, but on almost lap 100, trade Johnny Brugg, last season's champion, is back up to the front. Now it looks like he's coming down pit road as well. He comes down P2. We'll see what he comes out as. These guys continue to stay under green lap 100, but Johnny Brugg making his way back up to what was an unfortunate start, trying to turn his luck around with 30 laps left in this race.
Johnny Brugg knows exactly what to do. Early in the race, he had the unfortunate mishap of that restart. Now he's came back, sitting in top 5 position, ready to put himself back into it. There's 30 laps left to go in this race, and especially for Brugg, he's looking forward to getting his car back out there and running and racing hard.
Yeah, but as Justin Malarkey comes down pit road, Alan Dixon, Matt Puricini going to take back over this race. These guys have been out now for quite some time, out front P1, P2. So it looks like Alan Dixon not going anywhere anytime soon in that Coca-Cola 33 car, as he does assume the race leader back from Justin Malarkey. Looks like Jacob in that 5 car had a rough moment there for a little bit, falling outside of the top 10, has now found himself comfortably back in 5th. Not too sure if he's came down pit road to make his green flag pit stop or not, but if he hasn't, he's sitting pretty once again into the top 5. Jason Benson behind him, Johnny Brugg 7th, Hobie Sutphin 8th, Brandon Ward 9th, and Gary the Sarge top 10 right now. I really like this run that Brian Cooper is having in his 96 car. He's up 20 spots, 15th. We'll see if he's able to carry this momentum throughout the race as we have about 25 laps left. We'll see if he can keep moving up, but up 20 spots right now consistently. A fine run by this 96 car as he's on the inside of that 00. That's not for position. He is a lap down to said Brian Cooper. Kendall Kerr getting some footing back as well. He looked real hot earlier on into the race, found himself into a little bit of trouble. He's now been able to battle it back up on or right outside the lead lap. I think there's about 12 or 13 cars. I'll wait for the next time that relative comes back, but you guys have all the information at the top of your screen there, presented by SDK iRacing live timing. But Kendall Kerr comfortably making his way back up into the top 15, sitting P14. Al Corey finding some spots here as well. He's made his way back up into 17th. And Skylar Carnes with 25 laps to go had to be just about everybody's favorite coming into this race. We talked about it. He was the season opener winner last week at Talladega. Before that, he won the 2 preseason races that happened just weeks before last week's opener. So that 47 car was most certainly on a hot streak coming in here tonight. He's now sitting in 20th, so not what he wanted here. But to be able to salvage a top 20 moving forward, and after winning last week's race, he's going to be doing just fine in the point standings.
Just nothing.
Go ahead, Trey.
I was going to say, just not the night he's wanted. Carnes was looking very strong and promising, especially in practice and qualifying. Was able to come in sitting in 3rd, but unfortunate events that's happened to him tonight. Hitting his right side on the back sheds and such, like I said earlier on. And I'm pretty sure he probably got a little loose and got slid in the pit stops. I could get more information on that, what caused him to pit so early, but he could have just pitted.
Yeah, and you know, I don't want to take anything away from these race leaders right now. Alan Dixon not only took took that opening, but he took it and ran with it. I mean, Dixon has been dominant in this 33 car for the last, half race almost. Same with Matt Piracini in the 24 car. He's been sitting P2 for a while. He does have a little over 7 seconds to make up on Alan Dixon as Alan is just running away with this race. Terry Fullwider, another one of those drivers who got up to the front and hasn't looked back. So I don't want to take anything away from the guys that are up front. Yes, some of the favorites came in tonight, had a little bit of trouble, but these guys up front right now are proving what we said earlier, that this league is so competitive, so darn good, that you cannot make a mistake here in the ARCA series on Sunday nights, because there's going to be plenty of drivers to sit there and take care of that opportunity.
Alan Dixon has put on a surprisingly great performance, like you said, holding half the race up front. And I'm watching his camera angle now, and he is barely turning his wheel, just keeping it straight on, saving his tires as much as he can. And that's all you really need to do here, especially with the laps winding down so fast.
It should be interesting to note, and this information is just something that I saw. But for the viewers at home, Alan Dixon, this shouldn't actually be a surprise. He is a 3-time No-Toad Racing League champion, and sure enough, Atlanta is his home track. So if there's anybody that was going to come in here and dominate the way Alan has, it's going to be the guy that's a 3-time champ who's probably raced a ton of laps here at Atlanta. So that should be no surprise that Alan Dixon is out front.
Yeah, that surprised me even more. I didn't know he was originally from Atlanta, and I have the sheet right here, and I'm looking at it. Yes, it is confirmed that he is a 3-time champion. Really surprising, and especially here for Alan Dixon. So yeah, he probably has put thousands, if anything, a lot and more than just thousands of laps at this track. Because if drivers have their home tracks, they tend to favor that track more and put more laps down. And whenever the time comes, they want to show off to their hometown crowd.
Now, on the flip side of that, Alan Dixon coming in with a really nice resume here at NTRL. Your second place driver, Matt Piracini, coming into this season a rookie with No Toad Racing League. So only in his second race with these guys, if this stays the way it is, 17 laps to go, a phenomenal P2 finish for Matt Piracini, as he is one of the rookie drivers out here tonight, along with Jacob Klinkart. He had a really good run earlier on in the race, even leading this race. Now, he has since fallen back a little bit, but, he's doing just fine as a rookie out here.
Yeah, no hard hate for him. He was running up front for a while and just fell back, pit stops, such, hit the wall a little bit, and right behind him is Alan Dixon himself. So pretty sad here for Jacob Klinkart, especially being the leader early on in this.
Shout out to the Sunday night ARCA admins, Gary Sarge, Surgeon, Alan Slider, Dixon, Al Rafter, Corey, and Will Jester. Those are your 4 admins here on Sunday night, putting all this together for you guys. They do run other series here at No Toad Racing League. Mondays, they have the 34 Legends. Tuesdays, the 87 Legends. On Thursdays, they run the Gander Trucks. And on Fridays, they do Dirt Oval and Dirt Road. So definitely a full schedule here for the guys at No Toad Racing League. Terry Fullwider, who we've talked about here tonight, running P3 right now, up 22 spots, was season 18 champion. So he won 2 seasons ago. John Campbell, 3 seasons ago. So some of these guys, as I learn more about these drivers, it's really not a surprise that some of these guys have caught traction here at Atlanta and have had such a good run, and that includes Alan Dixon and Terry Fullwider running 1 and 3. Johnny Brugg with a pretty good rebound inside the top 5 now, P4. Sitting about 17 and a half seconds off of Alan Dixon. So if we stay green here, 12 laps, unlikely he makes a run for that. But certainly after the luck that he had, I think he'll be just fine with the top 5 here tonight. Will Jester in that 5th spot. About a second behind Johnny Brugg, who's P4.
Really amazing to see Brugg come all the way, starting the mid-pack, from the restart going in the mid-pack, made his way up in the top 5 once again. Just shows the incredible skill that Johnny Brugg has.
Yeah, and patience too. I mean, frustration sets in real easy on iRacing. I'm speaking from personal experience, but also as a broadcaster. Sometimes you see these guys who, whether they're new or experienced, they come in with a really good car. They do good in qualifying. They find themselves with some good track position. They get caught up in a wreck or two, and they totally deflate. I've yet to see anybody in this league do that. Obviously, Johnny Brugg being the perfect example of that, fighting his way back up into the top 5. But so it just goes to show a lot about this league. That these guys are maintaining to race out there and race hard, and it looks like it's paid off for some of these drivers who are back up into the top 10.
Alan Dixon still your leader here on lap 121 with 10 to go. All he has to do is 10 easy laps, and if I was Matthew Persini, I would step pedal to the metal right now. You got 10 laps. You got to go chase him down as much as you can.
Yeah, Matt Piercini actually making some pretty good ground here. The last time we checked in with them, which was not that long ago, I think it was like a 7-second gap, if I recall. And Matt Piercini, I'm not too sure if Alan struggled making his way through some of these back markers here, some of these cars that are lapped down. But nonetheless, Alan Dixon only 1.2 seconds in front of Matt Piercini and shrieking. So setting up for a nice finish, 8 laps to go. Does Matt have the speed to track down the 33 car of Alan Dixon? Oh boy, it's starting to heat up right here. Trey has this lead under a second right now. As we come out of turn 4 onto the front stretch, going to be 7 laps to go this time around. Matt Piercini gaining traction on Alan Dixon.
I'm pretty sure Persini was saving his tires, and he's going to use what he has now. As you can see, with all the time he is gaining on Dixon.
Under a half a second. Matt Piercini on the move.
He is right there on Dixon. Dixon goes up a little high, coming in 3 and 4. Look at the time that Persini, he is on the tail of Alan Dixon. They're side by side, coming in 1 and 2.
And here is the battle for the lead. The 24 car of Matt Piercini down into turn 1. Onto the backstretch, going to check up high, and we got a new race leader here at Atlanta. 5 laps to go, and I think you're right. Matt Piercini strategically saving his tires at one point over 7 seconds behind race leader Alan Dixon. And within about 15 laps since we checked in, able to chop that lead down. We'll see if Alan Dixon has anything left into the tank for him as that 33 Coca-Cola car comes charging back down into turn 1. Or will Matt start to run away? Did Alan use everything he had to stay out and keep that big lead for the time that he did?
So yeah, you got to remember, Alan Dixon's put down. This is his home track, but for Matt Piercini being a rookie and passing a 3-time champion with 7 seconds. That's a lot. That is great strategy there by Matt Piercini, but the race is still far from over. We got 3 to go.
Yeah, 3 laps to go this time around. It looks like Matt Piercini might have his hands full here, as the 33 car isn't going away cheap here. Still sitting P2, only 0.28 seconds behind race leader Matt Piercini. We see Terry Fullwider in the relative in third. He's almost 2 seconds behind these guys. So we're going to stay with the race leaders here with 2 laps to go. The rookie, Matt Piercini, looking to take week 2 and his first win with No Toad Racing League.
Alan Dixon got somewhat of a good run coming off 2 as they're about to enter 3 right now. Dixon right there on the tail of Persini. We would be able to get the momentum coming off of 4. He is right there, going to try to get right next to him as Persini puts the block. 1 lap to go.
Whoops. Darn cameras.
Dixon's right there. He's trying to look on the inside. Persini's going to block him on the backstretch. You can see that Dixon trying to fake him out. Dixon's going to go to the high side. Is there enough grip for him to get the exit off the turn?
Yeah, coming off turn 4, Matt Puricini. Coming down the front stretch. Can he hold off the 33 car? Yes, he does. Matt Puricini, the rookie, here at No Toe Racing League, holding off Alan Dixon, the veteran at No Toe Racing. Johnny Brugg with an impressive P4 after his start. Willie Jester, P5. Jason Benson, Justin Malarkey, Sid Kashishi, and Brian Cooper, who was a lap down with a top 10 finish out of that 96 car. And I told you I was impressed with Cooper when he was in 15th. I had a feeling he was going to gain a couple of more spots there, and he gets a nice 10th place finish in that 96. But what a finish for Matt Puricini in that 24 car, as he is going to burn down the house here at Atlanta. He comes up to the finish line here. Oh, yeah, a well-deserved win there.
3 last week as well, or am I...
Well, we definitely called him out last week, because I remember having to learn that name last week, Puricini. So he must have had a good finish last week at Talladega. Caps it off this week, week 2, as the race winner. And, you know, shout out to both these guys, Matt and Alan. We talked about it with about 30 laps to go, how they really took their opportunity when it came to them, dominated the end of this race. I can't believe Matt. I'm telling you, there was one point I looked, and he was about 7.5 seconds off Alan Dixon, and I thought if it stayed green, that Alan Dixon was going to run away with this race, and the next time we checked in with Matt, he was less than 2 seconds behind and ends up getting it done. Some good blocks there, Trey, at the end. I thought it might get a little bit ugly. Alan Dixon, though, keeping his composure, making sure he didn't do anything reckless to Matt, but definitely gave him a run for his money as that 24 car does a victory lap here at Atlanta.
Pretty cool of Alan Dixon. He could have put the bump and run on Matt Puricini, but he was able to keep it clean throughout that whole time. On the last lap, we saw Dixon go all the way to the top, trying to gain some ground there, and he was able to get a little bit on his quarter panel coming off of 4, but it wasn't enough time. If you gave him about a lap, it would have been side by side to the line. But Matthew Puricini, being a rookie, getting his first win in here, the NTRL.
Yeah, we'll pull him up here in a minute, but I want to talk about the driver that we just pulled into the booth, Terry Fullwider, up 22 spots, starting 25th in tonight's race, taking home a podium. Terry, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Wore out, but doing great. Happy with that finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to us a little bit about Atlanta. Now, a lot of the heavy hitters got into some interesting scenarios early on. I know there was one restart that kind of messed up some drivers. They were down on the infield. iRacing and the admins here at No Toe decided to keep it green, and you three up front did not look back. A dominating top 3 from you guys. Talk to us a little bit about Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta's a great track. I've always enjoyed running here. The name of the game is just tires, tires, tires. So from the moment the green flag dropped, I was doing everything I could to just save things. I expected we'd get some long green flag runs, and just was really fortunate to squeak through in that wreck that you're talking about in the restart, and that's what sealed it for us, I think.
Right?
Tell me on that last lap what was going through your mind and going through the corners and such. Tell me, guide me through the pit cycles tonight, actually, how you're able to perform your pit cycle.
Well, I was hoping y'all weren't going to ask about pit cycles. I don't know if you saw it on the broadcast, but my last pit was a disaster. I drove through it, backed up, got too close to the wall, and had to reposition. Lost about 9 seconds on that one. So to finish just a second and a half behind the leaders with that pit stop looming large in my rearview mirror was a little frustrating. But the last 10 laps was a great drive. I had saved just enough, and then started to push and just couldn't gain on the 24 or the 33. I've really enjoyed watching their battle on that last lap, though. It was a heck of a run for them.
Yeah, nonetheless, maybe a little frustrated out of that. Maybe feel like you could have been there fighting for the lead, but nonetheless, after qualifying outside of the top 20, being able to take home a podium, Terry, it's got to feel good. Congratulations on P3 week 2. You're off next week. We'll see you at Iowa.
Y'all take care. Appreciate you.
Next up is going to be as apparently I can't work out a mouse. Next is going to be Alan Dixon. They call him Slider. And man, he was trying to do everything he could there at the end. Alan, how much is disappointment and how much is, hey man, what a strong P2?
I mean, it was a strong P2. What killed me was I was going to be short on fuel, so the last 20 laps I was having to run it without holding the throttle all the way down. And I knew Matt was coming, and it got to 5 to go, and they said I was going to have enough fuel, but then it kept flipping back and forth as I got back on the throttle. So, he did what he had to do. He blocked coming out of 2. I let off, not to turn him. And, it was a race for the win, and he got there first.
Yeah, we talked about both those incidences actually, starting with the one time I had checked where Matt was on the track. He was about 7.5, 8 seconds behind you. And I thought, well, Alan's just going to run away with this if we stay green. And then not 2 or 3 laps later, he was right there about 2 seconds off. So I was curious if it was a low fuel, if maybe you just ran that right tire down a little bit too low, but good feedback there. And then I did talk about a little bit class act there. Yeah, he threw the block, which is racing. And good job not causing anything nasty there. A strong P2 for you, Alan. Trey, you got anything for him, my man?
Yeah, tell us how you're able to make that pit strategy work and coming on top of P1 off pit road.
So generally I'll start figuring out fairly quickly, hey, if it runs green and we need tires at this many laps, what have I got? And so I originally I thought we were going to be 2 or 3 laps short of being able to make it. And then as we got to the last pit stop, I realized I was within a lap or so. So that's it. 5 or 6 laps into the run, I started to save, and it all worked out.
Yeah, it really did, and just a phenomenal performance. We both loved the throwback Coca-Cola with the polar bears on there. You guys are off next week before heading into. Is it Iowa? Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Iowa
it's
Speedway.
Iowa.
Yep. So enjoy your week off, P2. You're going to be taking home a ton of points. Enjoy Labor Day holiday, and we'll catch you back at Iowa on the 12th.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You got it. Now we'll be pulling in race winner, No Toad Racing League rookie, the driver in the 24 car, Matt Puricini. Matt, talk us through those last couple of laps there. Obviously, we just talked with Slider. He said he was saving fuel. You had or he was running out of fuel, so he had no choice but to save it. You come back from about 8 seconds back on that last green flag run to not only get the pass, but talk us through a little bit. You had to really work your tail off there and throw out a couple of blocks.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was a hard win. Basically, I was watching my fuel. I knew on the last pit stop when I pitted, I was going to have to save about 3 laps of fuel. So when I got the fresh tires on, I was only running about 3/4 throttle for about 8 to 10 laps of that run. And then I had a spotter with me, and I told him how much fuel I had left in the tank, and he said, that should be enough. You can go. And he kind of let me go, and I just started running the fastest laps I could and still trying to keep the tires on it. I mean, Atlanta eats tires, especially even in iRacing, it eats tires. So we managed to chase second down, got by him, and I was like, I'm going to have to do everything I can to hold him back because my tires catching him, I wore him out. So real happy we got a win here in the Mid-South Sports Report Chevy. It'll be for a really good podcast tomorrow when Willie and I break down the Cup playoff grid. So if you guys want to tune in and listen to Willie and me, that'd be awesome. But this will be a nice icing on the cake there to kick the show off tomorrow morning or tomorrow night.
Yeah, why don't you tell the viewers at home what time and where they can catch that podcast?
So the podcast is on at 8 Central. If you go to Facebook and look up Mid-South Sports Report, you'll find it there. And Willie and I, like I said, we're going to break down the Daytona race, and we're going to do we're calling it the War Room Edition. We break down the top 16 in Cup and give our brackets. And who knows, we might have a little money on the line for it too. So we'll see. It's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, Trey, I know you want to get in here. What do you got for our race winner here, Matt Piercini?
Tell me the feelings of everything going through your brain right now, especially coming here your rookie season and being able to finish on top of 35 other drivers in the second race of the 20th season here in No Toads Racing League.
Well, I feel very humbled in actual fact. I found this league, I happened to be running a totally different race on a Sunday night, and they were running their season 19 finale at Daytona. And I kind of looked in on it because they were broadcasting, and I like, boy, that looks like a fun league to join. And so was able to get recruited, ran the recruitment races, had a blast, and feel very humbled to be racing with this group of guys. They're all a great bunch of guys. Love racing with them. Knowing that Atlanta is probably my worst mile and a half, and to pick up the win at Atlanta, pretty happy. I mean, I let a pretty good shout of joy out at the end of that race to get my first win and my second race with these guys. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys go into a bye week next week, USA and Canada Labor Day. So you guys are off. You'll come back to Iowa Speedway and then Daytona Road Course. Talk to me a little bit about how much momentum you think you can carry into the 12th and 19th. Obviously, we've ran Talladega, a super speedway. Atlanta, obviously a mile and a half area, so it's not a super speedway, but it's pretty fast. And now we're going to be dipping down to Iowa and then the road course on the 19th.
Well, I'm looking forward to Iowa. It's a track that I've actually run relatively well at. Daytona Road Course, I'm probably going to be turning about 250 practice laps, I think, before that race. Road course is not my specialty at all. But I do find, for whatever reason, when I run road courses, I seem to run the NASCAR-style cars the best on road courses. So I guess we have that going for me. I mean, it's nice that we're going into the off weekend, and not to take it to my American friends, but it's really nice to finally have a Canadian on top of the board too. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, before we let you go, Matt, anybody you'd like to thank, somebody out there watching the stream and helping you along through these races?
Well, definitely, I want to thank Willie Whitaker. I mean, he's a great friend and my co-host on the Mid-South Sports Report. Michael Redding was my spotter tonight, and he did a fantastic job. And of course, at the end of the day, if I didn't thank my wife Leanne and my daughter Johanna for giving up Dad for an evening to come race with the boys and have a lot of fun, I'd probably be in a whole heap of trouble. So, real happy for the win. Can't wait to watch the replay.
Yeah, Sunday nights are for the boys. Matt, a heck of a run here tonight. I mean, I seriously mean that. Way to hold off a previous champion here in Alan Dixon. We'll let you get going back to your family, celebrate, maybe have a toast here tonight. Congratulations, Matt. Enjoy the off week, and we'll pick it back up in Iowa, my friend.
Sounds good. Thanks very much. Great job broadcasting too there, guys.
Appreciate it, buddy. So, Trey, I will let you start with the closing thoughts. We had a super speedway showdown last week at Talladega, transitioning here to Atlanta. What are your thoughts on tonight's race?
Tonight's race, you saw two drivers who were favored to come out on top, not do that. Johnny Brugg able to sit into a top 5, and Skylar Carnes sitting below that, below a top 10, and able to see Matthew Persini take away the lead from Alan Dixon from being 8 seconds behind. It was really phenomenal to see, and seeing him save his tires and being ready for that. Atlanta, there was a great amount of wrecks involved on the backstretch, mainly coming off of 2. That's where you saw drivers get loose the most at. And then you saw a couple drivers hit the wall here and there. A lot of them had that right front damage, as you saw going on during the race. Just this track was brutal for some, but really, really grateful to others.
Yeah, good job tonight, Trey. Atlanta definitely did not disappoint. I've called a lot of races here at Atlanta, both in the Cup cars and the Xfinity cars. This was my first night broadcasting the ARCAs here at Atlanta, and again, it did not disappoint. What a fine night of racing. As Trey said, a couple of the favorites getting knocked out of the race early on, able to rebound and bounce back. Hats off to Johnny Brugg for being able to whip out that top 5 there towards the end. A phenomenal race by Alan Dixon. We heard him in the post-race interview having some issues with fuel. Unfortunately, that's why he got P2. Matt Piracini, though, putting on a show at the end, being able to knock off an 8-second deficit to be able to catch Slider Dixon, make the pass, and be able to hold off for 3 to 4 laps there was really impressive by Matt. I enjoyed tonight's race. We appreciate you guys that tune in every night here. If you guys are watching on the No Toad Racing League YouTube, be sure to head over to twitch.com. If you have access to the app, drop Faded TV _ a follow and turn on notifications. That way you can catch the race, whether if YouTube's down, head over to Twitch. If Twitch is down, head over to YouTube. Certainly helps out both products here. I've been Faded GG. We appreciate your time. We're off next week, and we will pick up the action back in Iowa in 2 weeks. We appreciate you guys.